On the channel, things are getting ultimate with the long-awaited Super 7 Ultimate Edition of Matt Cardona. Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another Super 7 Ultimate unboxing and review. And today, we're taking a look at Matt Cardona, another wrestling figure in the Super 7 Ultimates lineup. Of course, we all know the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast. If you're into wrestling figures, how would you not know about the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast? But we know we got Matt Cardona. We're also going to have Brian Myers. Look for that review on the channel as well. And while you're here, make sure you subscribe, like, comment, share, all that fun stuff everybody else asks you to do. But we're taking a look at Matt Cardona today, and we're going to do it like we do all the other reviews on the channel. We're going to take a look at the packaging. We're going to talk about it. We're going to unbox it. We're going to talk about it, and we'll see where it goes from there. And don't forget, for all your Super 7 needs, make sure you're hitting up Big Bad Toy Store. Link in the description below. You can get these guys right now. They are shipping from Big Bad Toy Store. Hit up the old link below. Fabulous Big Bad Toy Store, as we always say. Get your Super 7s from them. Don't let them sit on your money for a full year. Get them ordered. Get your order in the queue, and they'll ship them out, and you pay when they ship. So it's always the best for Super 7 from where I sit, which you guys know, right here at this table. So there you go. Let's take a look at the cardboard packaging first on this one. We know Super 7, they always give you these nice protective boxes. I always tell you guys, make sure you save these. Collectors want them. They are good to protect your packaging as well, as you've got to save all this Super 7 packaging. It's too good not to save. But you can see it right there, Matt Cardona in his own special font. So there's that. See you later, off to the side. Now business really picks up when you get it out of the package here. I gotta say, looking at this, this is some of the best packaging Super 7 has done. They do amazing Ultimates. We all know that. We've seen the He-Man over the years. Of course, we've seen Thundercats, Ninja Turtles. Of course, New Japan Pro Wrestling. Now Matt Cardona and Brian Myers. But they really outdid themselves with the packaging on this one. So let's talk about it. Let's take a look at that first. As you can see, they got the old Major Wrestling Figure title belt right there. Beautiful. Champion at the bottom. This nice gold color to it. Just really does pop. The packaging pops tremendously. You look at the back on this, the title belt actually straps in. Now I will say, be careful getting this. This is very easily rippable. Rippable, is that a word? Well, guess what it is now. You got to be careful undoing this belt. I wish it would have been a Velcro or something like that, but obviously costs. So you got to be careful. I did tear just a hair, just barely. You got to really look for it, but it is possible. But it comes off just like a title belt. How cool is that? That is just really cool, really smart packaging. Kudos, Super 7. Some of the best packaging I've seen, and of course Brian Myers will have this as well on his. But there's that packaging on the outside. Very, very cool. I do love that. Then you get to this. Then you get the Matt Cardona logo right here with a nice kind of thunderbolts, lightning in the background. Just looks really cool. It almost has like a 3D effect. It almost looks like the logo is bouncing off the package. I think that is really cool. It, of course, wraps all the way around. On the back, you got Matt Cardona, his name right there. And it wraps all around. On top, Ultimate Super 7, UPCs, warnings, all that stuff nobody cares about. But where the real magic happens, of course, is the slipcase cover. Slide this bad boy off like we always see with all the other Ultimate Editions. And there it is. Look at that. Look at that packaging on that right at the top. Scratch that figure itch. That's one of their taglines, as you guys know. You got the nice packaging with the ring here. It looks like he's standing inside the ring. We did see that, and I think we'll continue to see that with other wrestling figures from Super 7 if they go that way. We know Doc Gallows, Luke, and Carl, I guess, they are coming very, very soon. We'll have those unboxed on the channel in the next month or so. We'll see. But those are, I don't know if they're going to make any more wrestling figures after this. We know New Japan is basically on ice. I'd have to think we would have had pre-orders up by now, but you never know. Stranger things have happened. But fabulous packaging on this one. For you inbox collectors, and you inbox collectors, I feel bad for you guys on Super 7 with all the accessories and different stuff you can do. I just feel bad for you. Maybe get two of them. Get one to open, one to keep like this, but it does look very good in packaging here. I love the extra heads off to the side, of course the extra hands, but as usual, I love it when things are posed in the package. I think that is very, very cool, and you got him posed right there with the old LI hands going on, and you get a lot of accessories to this one. So you get 4 total heads, you get 2 extra sets of hands, you get a microphone, you get Broski bucks, of course, you got to have those Broski bucks, like a young Teddy DiBiase. And then you get a little figure for the figure, which is really cool. We've seen that before with World's Smallest, He-Man, Turtles, Power Rangers, stuff like that. We also saw it in 2021 with, I would say, the MCU figure of the year, the Red Guardian figure, coming with his own action figure. I thought that was really cool. But we get that again. I guess that fits. What other wrestler should have their own figure? I mean, that makes sense. It makes sense for me. So I do like that a whole lot. Ring ropes go all the way around, and then you get the big time blurb on the back of the package. I'm going to read this. It's going to be story time with Kyle. He's always ready. Is he always ready for me to read the back of the package? Let's see what it says here. A powerhouse with a passion for pro wrestling dating back to his childhood on Long Island, New York. Long Island, cold this time of year. Cold, brisk, some might say. Matt Cardona is a multi-time champion who changed the game more than once in his already illustrious career. He took his destiny into his own hands, crowning himself internet champion on his highly popular YouTube show that elevated his status in the eyes of fans around the world. Now he's doing it again in the podcast world, reaching millions of major marks in the Major Wrestling Figure podcast alongside longtime friend and former tag team partner Brian Myers. No matter the time, no matter the place, Matt Cardona is still here and always ready. Oh man, if that didn't inspire you, maybe it just didn't. I don't know, but I love a good copyright. You guys know that. I love things like that on the back of the package. Solid, very solid, a little wordy, but I'm okay. I'd rather have less words than no words. So there it is. There's the packaging on this one. Beautiful presentation, but how does the figure perform? It's great if you have a nice shiny BMW, but if you don't have an engine in it, what do you got going on? Let's check it out, and like we do with all Super 7s, I'm going to take it offline so I can get it all out of the packaging. We'll be back as we dig into Matt Cardona. All right, we're out of the package. It's time to rock and roll and strutting and strolling our way into this figure, see what is going on. And of course, we're going to put the package off to the side. Nice purple background as a background for this. Like I said, I do keep the package. I would recommend you do too if you unbox these. Beautiful packaging. Not worth to put in the garbage. Save it. Save it. All right, now we got Matt Cardona out of the package here. Let's dig in. Let's see what's going on. He's got his LI pose in the package. Like I said, I think that is a really nice touch. Very cool. We're going to stick him right here for now. Right here for now, looking all LI'd out. So we're going to take a look at the accessories. So let's see what some of these accessories we have here. Now, we talked about hands. Hands, you guys know I'm a stickler for a fist, and Super 7 never disappoints. They know action figures, wrestlers especially, need fists, and we got two of them. We got two Fists of Fury for Matt Cardona, even taped fists, which I like. So he has these. Of course, he has the LI hands on him currently, and then you got two open hands here for the accessories or anything else you want him to hold. So you got two extra sets of hands here. For wrestling purposes, I think he's pretty covered. You got his patented pose, you got gripping fingers, hands, and then of course fists. Fists of Fury. So we got that going on. Then we get his Major Wrestling Figure Podcast dog tags. So he's got the dog tags right here. So very cool to get that. That's a nice extra bonus edition here, as he usually is wearing those, especially in his WWE run. I guess I noticed it a little bit more then. One time he did even throw some to my daughter at the Survivor Series 2019, I believe it was. 18? I don't know. It was in Chicago. I know that much. But he did give my daughter. My daughter still has those dog tags to this day. But he has those. Be careful with these. Not the firmest of plastic material. I could see this ripping if somebody's rough for it. Super 7, as we know, the majority, I would say 99% of the people that buy these are adult collectors, teenage, something like that. Most people aren't buying these for their children. I think that's a fair assessment. But you do have these. You can put these right over him. Cool to see some dog tags there. We do get a Major Wrestling Figure Podcast microphone. Mine is warped like you wouldn't believe. Throwing this in a thing of hot water for 30 seconds or whatever, mold it back into place. That will work out nice. A little bit big. I do think on first impressions a little bit big on the microphone, but it's a microphone. Is it really the end of the world? Absolutely not. But I do like they have the microphone cover that shows the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast throughout. Very nice touch. Fits in with the overall branding of the figure. Gotta have that. So you got a microphone with him. Then we get some Broski Bucks. If you know Broski Bucks, you know Broski Bucks. But he does have those. We have the regular edition, and then you got the fat stack of Broski Bucks. Oh, man, these things buy so many action figures. It's unbelievable. But you do have Broski Bucks. Now, a lot of people think this is a new mold, and we talk about it all the time on the channel. Got to get the most of your molds. That's exactly what Super 7's doing here, as these did come with Okada. The exact same two things. Not Broski Buck edition, plain edition. So they had the mold already. They just had to add a little bit of bells and whistles, getting the most out of your molds. Makes perfect sense in this instance. Kudos, Super 7. I like the addition to this. I like the touch. There you go. And then you get the little action figure. No articulation on this thing. It doesn't really have a face either. It's basically plain, but you see it. You can tell by the coloring and everything. You know who it is. They even got Always Ready on the back. I think that is a beautiful touch. Super 7 does things amazingly. I'm a Super 7 loyalist out there. You guys know I have a few gripes with them. I don't like people sitting on my money. That's why I go to Big Bad Toy Store. Every once in a while we get delays. I do think they should say, hey, it's going to be a year and a half, and then surprise us when it comes in 13 months or 14 months. I think that is one thing in their business model they could use some work on. But at the end of the day, they have so many good properties that I absolutely love, and little attention to detail like this is beautiful for somebody like me. And not just in this figure instance, but for, you know, Thundercats or whatever we're talking about. Little things go a long way, and this is adult collectors, so we have come to expect this kind of stuff, and Super 7, more times than not, nails it out of the park for me, at least from where I sit, as you guys know, right here at this table. Then we get to the heads. We got heads. We got a ton of heads. Too many heads? You be the judge on that. This is one of those things where, do you find some Mattel Elite bodies that could work as Matt Cardona? Do you get an old Zack Ryder figure, maybe? Because it is a shame, and I see this with other lines. Once again, generalizing Super 7, we get a lot of heads. You want to put them to use, but you don't want to buy multiples of a $55 figure. I get that. You got to get a deal, got to get the most out of your money, and you only got so much money in your wallet. So maybe there's some basics. Maybe you get an old basic figure or something like that to find use of these heads. Now, I haven't thought into it deep enough outside of just right now, but I'm sure there's some bodies you could use some of these heads on and get a little bit more out of the Matt Cardona figure. So I think that is an opportunity. Looking at these heads, so you get a smiling, regular smiling head, and that's always good. I think you should always have a frowning or non-smiling and a smiling. So there's your two. So you get a smiling head right here. You get one with the tongue out, which is absolutely ridiculous. I would not do this head. This is probably my least favorite of the heads. But, you know, it kind of fits. It kind of fits. You give it all different shades of the personality is what you got with this one. So for right now, I like the smiling one. Then you get the one on the hat. The hat is non-removable. It is... I don't know. See, now, I'm just a little bit older from the flat bill phenomenon, and Matt Cardona here obviously loves the flat bill. I think it looks a little goofy. I think he looks kind of like, I don't know. I don't know what he looks like. It looks like some kind of guy on the third baseline at a minor league baseball game is what this head reminds me of. So it's not a fan. This is one I'm not going to use either. And then you get more, and I think the head sculpt that's on here, unfortunately, is my least favorite of the bunch. Well, the hat's probably my least favorite, then this one. I really do like the smiling face. I think they got the look of Matt Cardona the best in this. This is my opinion in this one. And then actually the one with his tongue out next. And then I'm going to go just a plain Jane face. There's something just a hair off on this one where you know it's Matt Cardona, maybe. With the outfit, you can definitely guess it is. If it's just a head standing by itself, I'm not sure if you could say, oh yeah, that's Matt Cardona. I know who that is. I'm going to put the smiling head on him because I do prefer this. And the heads do pop on, removable, just as we've seen with other figures from Super 7 and other toy lines there. He does have a little bit of a, and this is inherent to Super 7, when they do an amazing job when you're looking at Ninja Turtles, Thundercats, He-Man, stuff like that. But when they try to nail the faces on human beings that are breathing, living things, like wrestlers, like we saw a lot with New Japan, I find that they struggle on some of the faces. They do an amazing job looking at a Ninja Turtle, things like that. But there is something lost in the mix on the human faces. And sometimes, like we've seen in New Japan, it was like a glossed over look. It was too glossy in the face, just looked almost like Barbie doll-esque, kind of that Barbie doll glow in the face. And I get that not to the same degree as the New Japan figures, but I get it just a hair. And I believe just from their podcast and stuff, it sounds like they were very hands-on with their action figures, so maybe they saw that too and brought that detail up. I'm not sure how that ended up going, but it has a little bit, but not to the degree of the New Japan figures. I would also say about the same thing in the skin tone. Some of the skin tones in the New Japan figures had a little bit of a high gloss. There's still a little gloss to this, but not an overabundance where it is extremely noticeable, like on some of the New Japan figures. That's just my opinion once again on that, but that's how I view it. The hands, of course, are going to be removable. Let's put a fist on Matt Cardona. Let's do that. Let's put the fist on. So you do have removable hands always good feature. Articulation wise, I do like the articulation on these Super 7s, but there's a lot of people that do not. You guys know me, one thing I absolutely love is pinless joints, and we got pinless joints throughout on the Super 7 figure. That is the wave of the future. Some might say Super 7's a lot like Dippin' Dots. It's the future today. Yes, it is. The ice cream of the future. So I do really like the pinless joints on this. You got articulation-wise, you got a bicep cut. Of course, you got elbows. Single jointed elbows, though, that's where a lot of people are lost. They don't like not having double jointed elbows. I'm okay with it. It's not the end of the world. I'm not somebody that poses all my wrestling figures around and does fig feds and stuff. As you can see, they all look like they're at a high school graduation behind me, so I just need somebody to pose okay on a shelf. But players out there that want all the extra articulation, you don't have the double jointed knees, you don't have the double jointed elbows. You do have the elbows that bend, and they do have a good turn to them. I would say it's more than a single jointed Mattel, so it is close without being quite there. So it's very close. And then, of course, the fists are removable. You do have an ab crunch on these. You go all the way back, all the way front. The head removable, round and round, all up and down, side to side, of course. There is no thigh swivel or thigh cut, but the legs do. You can do a full split, so really good leg articulation. You can move that there. The knees, they bend up, once again, single. And then you get the ankles that move all around, side to side, all that kind of stuff. And no boot cut. No boot cut there. But you can get a lot of turn out of the leg and the peg joints there and stuff. So there plenty of articulation for somebody like me. But somebody that wants a Spider-Man type articulation figure, this isn't the right place. And I think that's fair. On this figure, I do love the paint applications. I rarely get a Super 7 figure. I could probably count on one hand out of all the Super 7s I've dealt with in my life with paint problems, inaccuracies and stuff, and I don't see any of that going on here. A lot of beautiful splatter paint going on, very reminiscent of the Nasty Boys back in the day. Always ready on the back of his tights, the Matt Cardona logo on the front of his trunks. Just beautiful paint job here, and just getting those colors together, complementing each other. Not super easy with the spray job and all that going on. The vest is removable. He does have a vest. Sometimes easier to get off. Boy, easy to get off. You know, some of those Mattels and Jazzwares, figures like that, they fight you. This slides on very easily, off and on. I think I saw a pin. Yeah, he's got the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast pin. I believe that's what's supposed to be on the vest. And then his logo, once again, always ready on the back. Fabulous, fabulous. Not soft goods, but it's plastic, very akin to Mattel, but I would say a little bit more durable, a little bit more removable, replaceable, things like that. Then you get to the figure here. Now we got chest hair going on. Too bad they didn't give him the old Shawn Michaels real chest hair like Jax did. Jax just cutting edge with the real chest hair. But it does have chest hair. And I'm no expert on Matt Cardona's chest hair, but maybe it's something I'll look into in my free time down the line. But it is very brown. I always think it was a little darker, kind of to match his hair. So I don't know if that, he could probably be a better judge if he was happy with his chest hair. He might want it a little shade darker. But it's very Razor Ramon-esque, so I know he would like that. He loves a good Razor Ramon. But it does look good. Then you get the, I didn't talk about the knee pads here, and those are very good as well. He's got that kind of Matt Cardona logo with the skull and stuff. Very early in his run outside of WWE, I think that is when that came around. Knee pads are not removable. Well, they are removable. Anything's removable. I don't know if you can get them on and back off. They do have a tattoo on his leg. I know he has leg tattoos. I'm really not familiar with them. I don't study his leg tattoos. But I felt like it should be a little brighter color maybe, or at least colored in. Once again, I could be wrong, but you can see that through the boot and everything else. And then I was talking about paint problems with Super 7, rarely getting paint problems. Well, I lied. I got paint problems. The Matt Cardona logo here on his silver boot, it's missing the very top piece. That is unfortunate. I hate to see that. Now, of course, whenever I look at this, I'll never be able to look away from that. But I spoke too soon. I jinxed it before I got all the way done. And that's usually not a spot where you have paint issues. It's usually the face and eyebrow, something like that. I do think with Super 7s, as a whole, their hands are a little bit small too. I didn't mention that earlier. A little bit of small handitis with this one. So we do have that. He should fit on a ringside collectible stand, I'm sure. Yes, he does. Fits like a glove, so if you need that, of course you can use these stands. But very good. Very good looking figure as a whole. Actually, it beat my expectations is what I'm going to say. I've been a little bit down on the New Japan figures. If you guys saw those reviews, if not, go back and check them out, of course. I was a little down, and what really brings me down on those New Japan figures is the glossiness of the figures itself. A little of that going on here, but not as much as those. So that really does help the figure a whole lot for me. The accessories, top notch here. Is this as good as an Elite? I don't know. Why don't we do some comparison? How about we bring out some stuff to compare this to? Here's his last Mattel Elite, I believe 57? I want to say it was Elite 57. It does not have the jacket on. I do like the look and the stance of a Mattel Elite better than the Super 7. I don't know. It looks more like, maybe it's just because we have so many Mattel Elites and we're more used to this. That could be that reason as well. As far as head sculpt goes, though, I mean, you take these heads off and you ask somebody who they are, I gotta say, even though this isn't like the real scan, this is the old technology with Mattel, you know this is Zack Ryder at the time or Matthew Cardona. This you maybe know, it depends how deep you are into things. It's not quite apples to apples, I know, comparing these figures, but you're looking at a $20 figure at the time, you're looking at a $50-some figure at the time. This is pretty good. If you can only have one and you're on a budget, I don't know. I don't know if this would be the end of the world for you or not, but you can kind of see that difference there. I'll take the stand off so you can see the size difference. That's the other thing. You can blend these in with your Mattels, your Jazzwares figures, and we're going to go through that right now. So you can kind of see they have basically the exact same stance. So they are in the same universe, in my opinion. Then how about we pull out a Jakks Ruthless Aggression. Oh, you guys know I love Jakks Ruthless Aggression. And this Stone Cold, one of the all-time great Jakks Ruthless Aggression figures. He lines right in there too. So you can blend these guys in. He really is about, they're about all the same. It's very, very close right here for the same. How about Okada? We'll move him down here. We got Okada from the Super 7 line. Fits in perfectly. I'm not sure how tall Okada is in real life. I think Matt Cardona probably has an inch or two on him. That's just my guess. So that seems to be about right as far as scaling goes between those two. So you got Okada there, another Super 7 wrestling figure. How about a little, I almost said New Japan again, but AEW, Darby Allin. Now Darby's a little guy. We all know he's just a little guy in face paint. Loves listening to The Cure and some emo music. You do you, man. You do you. But he fits in there like that. Of course, Matt Cardona's good friend, Cody Rhodes. Kind of stick Cody right here. So you can see that. I kind of feel like the Super 7s are a little bit bigger, a little bit more jacked up than the Jazzwares figures. And Jazzwares still finding its rhythm from where I sit, of course. But they're getting there. But they do blend in okay. And then finally, we'll move Cody over here. Then the final one we'll compare to another Super 7 Ultimate. How about old Lion-O? Leader of the Thundercats. As you can see, and that's one thing they always say, the Major Pod always says, they love the Ultimates line because now they're in scale with all these other properties, including Thundercats, which, of course, I love Thundercats. Can't wait for some more Thundercat figures in 2022. But you can see how that scaling is right there. Another thing that does annoy me a little bit, and it annoys me on all Super 7 figures, not just the wrestling figures, is the shoulders on these guys. The tops, you can see where that cut is. So they do get a nice range of motion all the way up, but it is a bit of an eyesore right there. But when you're putting his jacket on, it does cover some of that, and that's a little smoke and mirrors. You can cover that up a little bit. But some of the cuts and some of the lines on the Super 7 figures sometimes irk me a little bit more than, let's say, a Mattel or a Jazzwares figure, and that just goes down to personal preference. But, well, Darby Allin has fallen down. Too much Cure music, apparently. So there we have it. We've got Matt Cardona, and I'm happy to report this ends up being better than expected. I had fairly low expectations based on some of the pictures I saw. I said, hey, I know if anybody's going to take some care into their figures, it's going to be Matt and Brian. They're going to be a voice. But Super 7 is limited, I feel, in the human anatomy in figure form. So they've got some issues still to work through. Super 7 getting better. They're one of the companies that always looks to constant learning, constant improvement. That's the name. That's Business 101, if you ask me. This figure outperformed my initial expectations, so I do like that. It's not without its challenges. We saw some paint issues, a little heavy on the gloss still, a few maybe inaccuracies, but when you look at all the accessories, what you get, the packaging, the figure itself, it can blend with all these other figures. It is a slam dunk. This is a figure I recommend to pick up. Of course, Big Bad Toy Store, link in the description below. Jump all over it. Support the channel. Why wouldn't you? So yeah, that's where I sit on this. I say you should pick it up. What say you, though, out there in wrestling figure land? I'm sure there are a lot of eyes on this, as obviously a lot of Major Pod fans out there probably watching this video to check out what I think and what they maybe think of the Major Brothers figures. So you guys in the comments, let me know your first impressions. If you have these already, hey, let me know down below what you think of the Matt Cardona figure. And of course, you've made it this far, might as well like this video, might as well subscribe to the channel. We're unboxing every single wrestling figure known to man on the channel, and a whole lot more than that. So make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, of course. Follow me on social media, Twitter, SirPaul64, Instagram, _Kyle_Peterson, and of course, Pro Wrestling Tees. Get your very own rockin' and rollin', struttin' and strolling t-shirt. Support the channel. So for Matt Cardona, I am Kyle. See you guys all real soon.